Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back in our Fortnite video. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking over some of my gameplay and breaking it down and showing you guys exactly how I'm able to win a lot of games very easily. I'm recovering everything that I do in this video and really explain exactly how you guys can win a lot more games yourself. And before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. If you guys want a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you guys have to do is to drop a like on the video. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and also subscribe to my second channel. The link for that will be in the description or the pinned comment. Turn on my post notifications and as well comment down below your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And as well, if you guys would like to support me in the item shop, all you guys have to do is go over to the item shop, go down to support a creator, type in my code is Young Humor, and you guys will have me added and supported as a creator. I really do appreciate all you guys who do add me. And alright guys, let's go right to the video. Alright, so in this video, I wanted to be talking through some of my gameplay and breaking it down and showing you guys exactly what I was doing in my games that allowed me to win super easily. So starting off here, just off the start of the game, I landed, grabbed a gun immediately. Also when I landed, I don't know if you guys saw, but when I was landing, I went right by that new Borderlands spot and picked up a ton of shield. I picked up like 70 shield, which really helped me out. Once I landed, immediately picked up a weapon, shot the two players that were fighting across, and I was able to finish off both the players very easily. And once I did that, the first thing that I did immediately after is I grabbed a little bit of materials. At the beginning of the game, I would say the one advantage that you can have over someone else would probably be materials and weapons. And so when it comes to weapons, it's pretty much just RNG and luck when you find in your building. But when it comes to materials, honestly, if you're in a gunfight against another player at the beginning of the game and you have like at least 250 materials, maybe even 300, and then the other player only has like 50, I guarantee you're gonna have such a huge advantage in that gunfight, and you're probably gonna end up winning unless I hit some crazy headshots from low ground, which does happen from time to time. But most of the time, the best advantage you can have at the beginning of the game is having materials. So I would say once you finish off maybe the players that are just inside your building or outside, I'd recommend grabbing like 200 to 250 materials. And after you do that, when you want to push the other team, you want to run around the sides for sure. You never really want to run to the middle, especially in a game like this where I landed at a hot drop, so it was pretty much the first drop off the bus. So there's going to be a lot of people in this area, so going into the middle was pretty much just a death zone. And if you want to die really quick, that's the easiest way to do it, is just run straight into the middle of the start of the game. If you have materials like late game and doing something like that, it really isn't as bad. It can be pretty bad if you get pinched from a lot of players, but if you do have materials, then at least you can kind of block it off for a little bit and you won't get screwed over too bad. But at the beginning of the game, when you don't have any mats at all, being in the middle of pretty much everyone is probably one of the worst mistakes you can do at the beginning of the game. And so after throwing some grenades to knock this player's structures down, I tagged him for a few times, and immediately after I did that, I rushed him just because I saw him through the build. I saw him trying to get off one of his minis, so I rushed him real quick and I hit him for like 10 damage and finished him off very easily. So next I have some gameplay when I was in the middle of the game. So this is pretty much just right off spawn. I saw another player that was across, tagged him twice, he was pretty weak. And as I was running up, I saw he was about to run into the house. So as I came over, I just decided to peek in through one of the windows, and I caught him right before he opened the door. And that's also another way you can really get a lot of easy kills and wins. It's just simply being really good at predicting where someone else is going to go. Because I got a few tags on him, and as soon as I saw him run in the building, I knew for sure. Most people don't usually go downstairs when it comes to building like that. But one thing that I did assume is I pretty much assumed that he was going to go immediately to the right and then try to go through that door. So I peeked that corner, and sure enough, he went right through that door, and I had an easy shot on him. And that's just one of the mistakes that can cost you a lot of times, is not predicting things well, because he could easily went in there, and in that case he didn't have any shield, but a lot of times he would run in there, pop up like 10 a couple minis, couple of big pots, pop a campfire, and even if you are able to finish off the player, you end up losing a good amount of extra shield that you could have had. So being able to predict people can just be such a really good advantage, and something that's not even that difficult to do, because a lot of things you notice, a lot of people are going to be doing a lot of this same or similar type of plays and similar type of moves. So it really isn't the most difficult thing to read people and what they do, unless you go up against like a really good player. And even if they are a little bit predictable, a lot of times they are pretty fast. So there are going to be certain players, but for the majority of players, when you're playing in casual, if you are playing in arena, then a lot of them are going to be a lot faster and a little bit better. But if you're playing in casual, a lot of the players you're going against, you can easily read what they're doing. Sometimes it might be a little bit more difficult because they might be quicker, like I said. But even if they are quicker, you can still predict what they're doing, and a lot of times you can get some easy tags for like 30 shield or so. And just by doing that, you can even get some eliminations, in which I did when I shot that guy through the window. So here I am chasing the next guy in this gunfight, and this guy was just an absolute runner. This is the people I'm talking about, where, you know, sometimes they are really, really predictable, but this guy was actually pretty quick when it came to building and playing. That I pretty much got him weak a couple of times. He ended up running away like 2 or 3 times, and then eventually I noticed him back over here. I knew he wasn't gonna have that much HP. I knew he probably had a little bit more shield, but as far as HP, I know he didn't have that much. And as soon as I chase him down, he just falls to his death. I guess he misplayed one of his structures, falls to his death, and I didn't get the kill for it, which is really unfortunate. So here in this next gunfight, I'm going to be going up against a player, and this gunfight was a little bit longer than what you guys are seeing. I was probably fighting this guy for a good solid minute, and this is a player that I just showed that just kept running and running and running. And when you're fighting those type of players, it's not really that those players are the hardest to kill. Usually the worst thing that happens when it comes to fighting these type of players like to run and like to build a ton is that's the type of players that you fight, and then you're eventually going to get third partied by another team. It's not really those people that you necessarily die to. It's usually the other people who are maybe watching, or maybe you're in a gunfight for long enough, especially if you're like in the middle of the map. Eventually, if you're fighting a guy for a solid minute, someone's going to hear gunfire and then come over and try to third party. So that's the one thing you do have to be really cautious of if you are in a little bit longer gunfight. Just to be really cautious of other people trying to third party, other people trying to challenge, because generally speaking, a lot of the times that ends up happening, especially against those players who like to play just a little bit slower and, you know, don't like to challenge and like to build a ton and just like to drag out the gunfights a lot. Those are usually the players that get third-partied game after game. And if you ever feel like you are getting third-partied most of your games, the best way to try to fix that problem is just try to win the gunfights that you're in a little bit quicker. Try to be, you know, just a little bit faster each and every gunfight, because that's just going to minimize the chance of you getting third party, because a lot of times it can be random. You know, if you're fighting a guy and you don't think there's anyone else nearby, and then, you know, some dude's hiding behind a bush, someone's hiding behind a tree. Stuff like that happens all the time, but the best way to prevent it is to eliminate the player on you or the player that you're fighting as quick as possible. And notice when I was fighting this guy, I went really, really quick when it comes to elimination, but when I also went to go take control of his wall, I also built a wall to my left, because the players that I'm fighting right now, they were on top of this hill the entire time, and they had a wide open shot at me if I didn't build to my left. And I think they were fighting, so they probably wouldn't have got any shots on me either way. But just to be safe, as I was fighting the guy, the one way that he could have possibly came back and won that fight is so I had the guy pretty weak and I had really good HP, but he could have easily came back in the fight if the guy on top of this hill looked down at me, got a couple shots, and ripped off all of my shield. And that's just something that happens quite a bit if you're not really careful. So if you're ever trying to go against someone who's in a box, and now they changed turbo building so you can easily get control of their wall, but when you do, you definitely want to build to, you know, maybe all the sides, or at least one side that you know other players are going to be coming from. Because as you can see here, when I was trying to get shots on the guy that was down in the box, I ended up getting shot from people that were across. So that's just something you do have to really consider and keep in mind every single time you are trying to go into a fight. I think that's really the number one thing too, is just to really be cautious and really be aware of where other people could be possibly shooting you at. And even if you are in a gunfight that you think is not going to be that long, you just never know that where other people could be shooting you from. So if you think someone's going to be to your left, if someone's boxed up and you want to try to take control of their wall, I would recommend at least building a wall to your left or to your right, just to be a little bit cautious, just in case anyone wants to try to challenge you from a third party. It's going to be a little bit more difficult and they would have to get closer. And here in these last two fights, the easiest way to go for high ground, especially at the end of the game, is just to use a launch pad. And that's exactly what I did, instead of having to waste my materials. And I had quite a bit of materials, but if you are a little bit low on materials, or especially like in an end game, I would say anything less than like 500 could be considered low. Because when it comes to those end zones, it could really be beneficial to have a ton of extra materials. But using launch pads can save you a lot of time, a lot of materials, and just be a lot quicker. And so here in this last fight, I'm just maintaining high ground, looking for any sort of shots that I can. I'm noticing that I still have 5 smokes, so if I ever see this guy boxing, I know I can just easily peel out his HP. If he tries to place a campfire, I can just keep throwing stinks, no problem. This guy eventually rushed me because I know he was low on HP. I just finished him off with my shotgun and won the game. And with that being said, that's wrap up for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys liked it, make sure you guys do drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on my post notifications so you guys are notified for every single new video. And alright guys, on to the next video.